Hello and welcome back to the Dance to Learn YouTube channel. My name is Jessica Strong, and if you are looking for dance teacher tips, tricks, and advice, you've come to the right place. Now today is my very first dance class of our summer session, so I wanted to take you along behind the scenes so that you could see some of my preparations for my first dance class. Now, a lot of these preparations are things that I do anyway, but my first dance class is a little different because there are certain routines and expectations that I want to set from day one. So, bibbidi bobbidi boo, let's get into today's video. So the first thing that I always do for my dancers is I make sure that I have an entering the classroom routine. This is really important, and I think that this is a preparation step that a lot of teachers miss when thinking and planning about their classes. If this is your dancer's first time to your dance studio, how do they know what they do once they come inside the room? This is a big open room, and that just invites running around. So we want to make sure that we set from day one, the minute they walk to the studio door, that they know what to do and where to go. So that is my first tip today, is to create your entering the classroom routine. Now, normally my routine, I have a couple different ones that I like, but on day one, I have a very specific routine, which I want to show to you now. You will need a magic wand or another prop because we are going to give our dancers either some glass slippers or a magical cape, and they can pick what they want today. And we're going to take our magic wand and we can say a little bibbidi bobbidi boo or abracadabra, and if they have glass slippers, they are going to tiptoe walk, and if they have a cape, they are going to tiptoe walk. So they'll put either their cape on or their crown on if they have glass slippers. But where are they going? So when they first come into the classroom, because I don't want them to just start running around, I'm going to show them our water bottle and dance bag corner. So for my water bottle and dance bag corner, I choose right next to the door and right in front of the mirror because we don't dance in this corner of the room. So all of our dance bags and water bottles, they can fit right along the front of the room, and we can just line everything up right along the front of the studio space right after they first walk in. After we put away our dance bags and our water bottles in our dance bag corner, we're going to come over and take a peek at my dance class roadmap. And I'm actually going to have my dancers sit down so we can talk about the roadmap. Now, what is a dance class roadmap? This is a visual that I have made for my classes that just shows the dancers where we are. Because a lot of times in a brand new situation, you don't know what to expect from a dance class. How long is this going to take? Am I going to see my grown-up again at the end of class? So the roadmap gives them a nice visual of where we are in the class, and most importantly, it shows them at the end of class when we get our hugs from our grown-up. Now my class today is a ballet tap combo class. So the way the roadmap works is I have two arrows. I have a ballet class arrow and a tap class arrow. So we start at the beginning of the roadmap and we will move the arrow along to the different parts of our dance class. So after talking about our dance class roadmap, it's going to be time to find a spot in our learner circle so that we can start with our lesson for the day. Now, a lot of dance teachers like to use poly spots to create spots in the room. I like to use floor tape, and I like floor tape because it's a little more permanent, and I just use little small strips of tape about this long on the floor for my dancers to sit on. I find it's less distracting. We all know what our dancers do with the poly spots. They like to put them in their mouths. They like to throw them across the room. They they're just a distraction. So I like to use floor tape. Now I'm going to use red floor tape today. This way, when I am done with our dance class roadmap, I'm going to say, okay, dancers, can you put on your airplanes or your glass slippers again? And we're going to tiptoe walk and we're going to find the red spots, and that's where we're going to sit today. Now I like to create a circle for my dancers, and to make sure that all of my tape spots are spaced evenly, I like to use a hula hoop. Now thankfully today I have pretty small classes, so I only need 3 spots, but I'm going to add a couple extras just in case we have any drop-ins today. That way I am prepared. I always like to be over prepared than under prepared. So today I'm actually going to place out 5 spots in my circle and then a teacher spot for me. So let's get our learner circle taped out. So I have my circle all taped out, and I like to use the hula hoops because they create enough space. I'll put like the tape inside of the pink hula hoop, and then I'll lay the orange hula hoop down next to it and then move the pink hula hoop. This way, this gives about a body space in between each of my spots so that I know I'm setting up enough room in my circle for us to stretch out, because we do stretch and do straddle stretches and things like that. But now my circle is ready to go. So we have our red spots and we can all tiptoe walk to our red spots after going over our dance class roadmap. And this is where we will get into our lesson plan. So let me talk about what we are learning today for our very first dance class. So for our very first dance class today, we are going to be reading and dancing to Flori Flamingo's first ballet class for our ballet portion. And then when we get into tap, we are going to follow Dance Dance Hooray's My First Tap Class lesson plan. And both of these are available in the Dance to Learn library, which I have linked in the description box for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my book and my little flamingo friend, and I'm going to place them inside of my hula hoop right in the middle of my dancer circle. And what I do with the hula hoop is I have a little rule, because I like going over all of my rules and expectations during my very first week of classes, that just says that our hands stay out of the hula hoop. So anything that's in the hula hoop is for Miss Jessica, and we keep our hands outside of the hula hoop. So it just kind of sets a little physical boundary. Now, I talked about the actual lesson plan, the My First Ballet Class with Flori Flamingo book and lesson plan, in last week's video, but I will link it for you guys. So if you want to go check out that video in case you missed it, you can learn more about this lesson plan and everything that we explore. So after we've done our stretching and we do a couple standing warm-ups, pliés, tendus, sautés, échappés, it's going to be time to move for our across the floor or developing skills. And for today, we may only have time. We might have to skip developing skills and go straight to our story dance pathway, which is our obstacle course, because in a ballet tap combo class, I only have 30 minutes for each part of class rather than 45 minutes or even a whole hour. So what we're going to need, we're going to create a waiting spot. So I'm going to use some different colored tape, and today I'm going to use purple tape for our waiting spots, because I know all of my dancers love purple. So I like to put my dancer waiting spots on this side of the room for a couple different reasons. So obviously we have our observation window here. So what I like to do is I like to have my dancers sit and face this way while we are waiting our turn to dance across the floor, because I know that our grown-ups and our brothers and sisters and the people watching us in the windows can be really distracting. So if I can focus them on everything that's happening right in front of them in our dance room, they're going to be less distracted by the window. The other thing that I like to do, we have the bar. Again, it's out of sight, out of mind when I can face them this way. And I put my waiting tape about 3 or 4 feet from the bar. So again, I'm just gonna take some little strips of tape. I'm gonna put out 5 pieces of waiting tape for my dancers. I won't need that many today, but again, I just wanna be over prepared than under prepared. I have my waiting tape on the floor now. Let me talk to you about my transition from the circle to our waiting tape. Sort of like our entering the classroom routine, I find that a lot of dance teachers forget to plan transitions. What do your dancers do once you're done stretching and warming up in your circle to get to their waiting spots for across the floor? This is an important transition that we need to think about ahead of time. And one of my favorite transitions is using my fairy catcher. Now, I have a whole other video about my fairy catcher, which I will be sure to link for you in the description in case you want to watch it. But what I do with my fairy catcher is sort of like my entering the classroom routine. I tell my dancers, we have magical fairies that live in our dance studio. I'm gonna open the lid. We're gonna see if we can catch a fairy. But when we come over and we find our purple tape, we have to be really quiet. And we don't want to run, because when we run, we scare our dancers away. So we're going to tiptoe walk nice and slow. And we're going to find a purple tape to sit on with quiet mouths. And then we'll see if we have caught a fairy. And that is my transition from my circle over to my waiter's tape. And if you want to learn more about the fairy catcher and some of the entering and exiting the classroom routines and other transitions that I have, check out my YouTube video all about the fairy catcher. After we transition, it's going to be about time to do some across the floor, and we will probably just skip straight to an obstacle course because I only have 30 minutes for the first part of my class and 30 minutes for the last part of my class. So I'm going to prep the props that I need ahead of time. This is a key to do if you are a dance teacher and if you are teaching by yourself. I do not have an assistant for any of my classes, so I have to plan all of my classes in advance and make sure that I am prepared for what I'm teaching that day. So I know one of the very first things we are going to do is we are going to leap over Flori Flamingo, and I'm going to get out 2 purple poly spots. One of my poly spots will be my starting spot. One will be my ending spot. And then Flori Flamingo is going to need, I call it her throne. I'm going to go ahead and grab the purple balance dome. So we have all purple today. And we're going to put Flori Flamingo. She's going to sit on her throne, and we will do some run leaping over our dome and our poly spots. I will probably have time, because I have smaller classes, to introduce a balance beam as well, which is going to be a prop that we use a lot, all the time. Every class we have a balance beam. I'm probably just going to introduce the straight balance beam. So I'm going to grab my balance beam pieces, and I'm going to pre-assemble these where I keep all of my props during class so they're out of the way and they're not a distraction to my dancers. I'm going to take my bucket of connectors, and we're going to build out this balance beam. I put together my balance beam, and I have all of my props preset. This just makes it easier. And I put everything, we never come to this side of the room for anything. Pretty much everything we do is over by the window and the door, exiting the class, all of that stuff, waiting our turn. So usually if it's waiting over here, it's not a distraction for my dancers. So that's why I push it over on this side of the room. If it ever is a distraction, there are different things I could do. I could take it and put it, we have this, let me show you. We have that closet back there that I could put a prop in. I could also, this door opens, so I could also preset my props back there if I did ever have anybody that was distracted by the props setting out. Usually it's a non-issue because, again, I try to focus my students on whatever it is that we are doing for that moment in our dance class. So after our mini obstacle course, it's going to be time for our tap transition. So we are going to need our fairy catcher again. And let me talk to you about some different tap transition options that you can use to help your dancers get into their tap shoes. So there's a couple different things that you could do for your tap shoe transition. I have very small classes for my summer session. I only have, I think, 3 kids that are signed up as of right now. So that's 9 pairs of tap shoes. It's not super crazy. So I will probably either just see if they can put their tap shoes on by themselves. If they need help, I will help them put their shoes on. If you have a larger class, there are some different things that you could do. You could play, I like to play the Jeopardy song because it's short. And you could give them 3 to 4 rounds of Jeopardy to get their shoes on. It kind of depends on the dancers. If you have an assistant, your assistant could help them. In one of my studios, I had so many kids in my tap class that I actually sent the kids out to the parents and had the parents put on their tap shoes for me because I was by myself and it would have taken me 30 minutes just to do our tap shoe transition. But once their tap shoes are on their feet, we get our magic fairy back out. So for our tap shoe fairy, when we have tap shoes on our feet, what we like to do is very quiet. We show them our tap shoes. So we'll actually sit down. This is included in my fairy catcher video. I talk about our tap shoe fairies, but we'll sit down and we'll quietly show the fairies the different parts of our tap shoes. So this is a great way to teach the parts of the tap. So we'll tap our toes, we'll tap our heel, and we'll very quietly tap our whole foot. Then we will let the magic fairy hide, and then we get loud, and then we tap our tap shoes loud, and that's really fun, and it kind of gets all of that crazy tapping out of their system. Then we're going to come back into our learner circle, and then we're going to do just some easy tap warm-ups. So whatever it is that we're doing that day, just a quick tap warm-up. Today we're following the My First Tap class, so there's definitely going to be some talking about the different parts of our shoes, and we do caboodles, which is toe taps, heel taps, and toe tips. And we just kind of make a circle. So it's going to be all about the different parts of our tap shoes today as kind of the focus of our class. Now, I don't think today for my first class that we're going to be able to get into developing skills or an obstacle course for tap because we are doing Flori Flamingo's first ballet class. And that tends to take about 45 minutes of class time. So I might only have 15 minutes for taps. We might just have enough time to introduce our shoes, and then it's going to be time to start wrapping up our class. So we do have a tap reverence. We just do the How Do You Say Goodbye in Ballet song from Preschool Ballet Party, and we just tap our tap, and we tap our tip, and we curtsy, and then big loud stomp, and we tap our tap, tap our tip, curtsy, big loud stomp, and then we clap and we blow kisses. And then to leave the classroom, it'll be time for our stamps. So I actually have our stamps on our dance class roadmap. So that will be something that they will see on the roadmap as we're moving through our class. What I used to do is have everybody go to the window and put their hands on their head or line up at the door. I'm going to try something new today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have them stay right in their learner circle. So after we curtsy with their hand on their head, and then they're going to show me their tiptoes to line up, and then we can just leave. so that I don't have a big long, because otherwise they're standing at the door with all of their stuff. I'm going to try to do their stamp time here when they're in their circle. So we'll get our stamps, and this is our ending our class routine. After we get our stamps, everyone's going to show me how they tiptoe walk to our water bottle and dance bag corner. They're going to grab their water bottle and dance bags, line up at the door, and I'm going to exit the door. I'll probably give them a high five, tell them good job, and that is our classroom exiting routine. And that is what I have planned today for our first dance classes for the summer. Hello. So I thought it would be fun to update you guys on how my dance classes went. Overall, they were all fantastic. I was scheduled for 3 classes. The first one was a pre-ballet class for kids ages 3 to 4. Originally, I did not have anybody signed up for that class beforehand, but they did ask us to be at the studio and to be prepared in case anybody came in and wanted to try a class or dropped in. So I was there, but I wasn't expecting to teach that class because I didn't have anybody signed up originally. While I was filming my YouTube video, as I was setting up my balance beam, I happened to look in the observation window and I saw a little family peeking inside the window, and the little one looked to be about the age of a pre-ballet dancer. So I went out there, I checked in with them, and sure enough, they were there for my pre-ballet class. Are you guys here for pre-ballet? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if we had anybody. Hi, I'm Miss Jessica. Of course, I was happy to teach her. She was the only one that was there, but I already had my whole class set up. You guys were watching me set up my class beforehand, so I was ready to go. I just needed to throw on my ballet shoes and get my music connected, but we read and danced to Flory Flamingo. Because she was the only dancer, we did end about 10-15 minutes early. Like, we just got through the whole class really super fast, which happens when you just have one child. They obviously are looking for a social aspect to dance, so they did want to sign her up into a class with more kids, which obviously makes sense. So they signed her up for my Monday morning creative dance class, which I want to say we have 8 kids signed up now, including her. So that was super fun, a really good class. Unexpected. I wasn't expecting to teach that first class, but I was there. They asked me to be there, and I was happy to teach. Then my second class was the ballet tap combo, and that was the class that you all saw me set up for and prepping for in today's YouTube video. So I realized I had 3 kids that were signed up for that class, and 2 of them had danced with me before. One of them did the entire session with me, and the other one I've known just from subbing throughout the season. So I knew who she was, and she was familiar with me and my class. So I had one more dancer in that class who I had met at the open house. So although I'd never taught her, I was familiar with her. And then I had a 4th dancer show up to try the class. So I had 4 dancers all together, and I made the executive decision. I had set up my dance class roadmap, but I decided not to use it because I had the 2 girls who have danced with me before, the 3rd one who was familiar with me and she separated fine at the open house, and she came into the studio and danced with me a little bit at the open house. And then the 4th little girl was on the older end of the class. I would say she's probably 5 or even 6 years old, and she didn't seem to have any hesitation about coming into the studio. So I decided not to use my dance class roadmap. Sometimes as teachers, we just need to be ready to change and adjust. And, that was fine for me to do in that class, and it turned out fine. The kids were great. They adjusted well. We read Flory Flamingo for ballet. Ballet was great. We switched to our tap shoes. And I don't know what happened between ballet, my music played fine. All of a sudden I went to warm up our tap shoes, and we were doing our little, we call them a caboodle. That's what they call it in the Dance Dance Hooray tap curriculum. And my song, I use Apple Music, would not play. My phone was still connected to the Bluetooth and to the speaker, but I just kept getting like a timeout message. So it was super strange. Thankfully, I always have a plan B. I do keep Spotify on my phone as a backup because I have had this happen before, although very rare. So it's terrible that it happened right in the middle of my very first dance class. So I just said, okay, let's just count. Let's count while I figure out the music. So I'm sitting here dancing, like messing around with my phone as I'm trying to get my music to connect. I played it through my phone just to finish that exercise. And then when I was setting up my tap obstacle course, I turned off the Bluetooth and the speaker and just reconnected it, and then it worked fine. So I don't really know what happened with my music. It wasn't a disaster, but obviously you want your music to work when you're teaching. So always have a plan B. But that class ended. It was great. The kids listened. I have 4 in that class now because the trial dancer, she did sign up. So that's always good to have more little ones. And then I was scheduled to teach an intro to ballet class, and I only had 1 dancer signed up. Now, I am familiar with this dancer. She danced with me all last season, and she was just a joy to have in my classes. I could tell she really loved ballet. So I was really excited to see that she had signed up for the intro to ballet. So I was bummed that she was the only one that signed up for the class. So when the mom showed up, I did check in with her because I have 3 signed up for that class on Tuesday. So I thought, well, maybe she could transfer into my Tuesday class, but Tuesdays don't work for this family. So she tried the Ultimate Combo class, which is a ballet, tap, and jazz class that runs at the same time, but it's taught from a different teacher. So she tried that class. I don't know what she'll do. She's either going to do the Ultimate Combo, or she's going to sign up for the ballet tap class, which she did all last season, and she did great in that class, and that would give me 1 more dancer, which I'm always happy to have more dancers in my dance classes. But that's how my night of teaching went for my first dance classes of the new season. I'm so excited for summer. Summer is a fun time, and I'll keep you guys posted what I'm teaching. If there's something specific that you want to see from our YouTube channel, I love making videos. So let me know what you want to see. Maybe it's a prop video, classroom management video, you name it. I could probably make a video for you and share it here on the YouTube channel. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I did want to remind you about our Back to Dance Teacher Challenge that starts July 1st exclusively in the Dance to Learn membership. I'm going to go over all of the things that I showed you in this video in a little more detail, and it's a great challenge. It lasts the entire month of July, so you can join anytime in July and access the challenge, but we're going to have 10 essential steps that you should take before your first dance class. We're going to share a separation anxiety mini course, a course on how to create a comfort buddy system. I have a parent and me dance class in case you do have little ones who are maybe not quite ready for an independent dance class, and how you can incorporate that before your fall season starts, and so much more. We have email templates and checklists and even a point-by-point action plan. So it's going to be an amazing set of resources that you can implement into your Back to Dance season. I have shared a link to join the Back to Dance challenge in the very first comment under this video. We do a different challenge every month, so if you missed the Back to Dance challenge and you're watching this at a later time, go ahead and join us. It's so much fun over in the Dance to Learn membership, where you have a community of fellow dance teachers to learn from and bounce ideas off of. If you guys enjoyed today's video, I invite you to click on the red subscribe button down below, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you never miss a video. I will see you guys next time. Happy dance adventuring!